We're going to discuss unit pricing with you today, and the general concept is from the number general outcome, which says you're supposed to be developing number sense and critical thinking skills. And the outcome that we're dealing with today is specifically N1, which says that we're supposed to be able to solve problems that involve unit pricing. All right, we're going to get to the currency exchange later, but we're going to look at unit pricing. So what is unit pricing is the question. And if you look at this, if I said I got a box of 90 little chocolate bars and they're $14.99, and I said, what's the unit price? Okay, the idea is that you're going to take the price and divide it by the number of units. So the unit price is just the price per piece. Okay, so I have $14.99 is what the whole thing costs, and I'm going to divide it by the 90 pieces that are in there. That's going to give me the unit price. So if I take $14.99 and I divide it by 90, I'm getting 0.166 and then 5 repeating. And I say, well, I'm talking dollars and cents here, so we're going to go to 2 decimal places. So it's about 17 cents per bar, all right, or per piece. So that's my unit price. So the concept is, in terms of a definition, the unit price is the cost of 1 unit. And the idea is that it helps us compare prices. So I could ask you, I've got 3 pieces of paper for $1, or I've got 1 piece of paper for 35 cents. What's the better deal? Okay, now because they're different units, it's hard to tell. But when we put them into the same unit price, we can say the cost per 1 sheet of paper for both of them is this much. Then it's easy to compare. So the idea behind unit price is trying to get this thing down to a single unit, a single value, so that I know what each single item costs, either each pen, each candy bar, each egg, each bottle of pop, each whatever. But things come in all sorts of variety of sizes, and I want to know what it is per gram, even sometimes per kilogram, whatever the case. So that's what the unit price is. Okay. In terms of a formula, a very simple way of looking at it is that the unit price, and I'm just going to call it UP for now, is the cost of the whole thing divided by the quantity. Okay, that's the easiest way to look at it. It's a very simple formula. So the unit price is the cost of the whole thing divided by the quantity of that thing. Okay. So here's an example. All right. It says products are packaged and sold in various sizes, such as a 1 liter, 2 liter, 4 liter jug of milk. And the question is, how do you determine, the least expensive choice if they're different liters or whatever? Same thing with brands that sell packages of meat in different grams packages. So one's a $250 gram, or not $250. That'd be a lot of money for a gram. It's 250 grams, or it's 375 grams. So even though I'm looking at a price and I might say, well, B has a bigger price, well, it also has more grams. So what's the unit price? Okay. So the unit rate or the unit price is what I just told you, cost versus quantity. So an example of that would be if you buy a package of 4 rolls of toilet paper for $2.68. With the COVID-19 outbreak, you're probably not going to get 4 rolls of toilet paper for $2.68 anymore. But imagine you did, what's the cost per roll? So all we do is we divide $2.68 by that 4 rolls. And so X becomes 0.67 per roll. So it's 67 cents per roll of toilet paper. Okay. So that's the idea of unit price. So what we want to do is we want to look at unit price in terms of a bunch of different options. So I'm going to show you a picture, and we're going to try to find the unit price. Okay, here's the first picture. It's a picture of apple juice, and it's $3.29 per 6-pack. Now you notice I don't have 6. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I want to know what the price of that is if I was going to buy it. So if I go back to my chart for a second, the unit price, it's $3.29 per 6. So I'm going to divide 329 by 6. I'm just going to take my calculator, and I'll show you this on my calculator. 3.29 divided by 6 is about 55 cents if I round it. So it's 55 cents per can. Okay, and then the total cost of the purchase, then how many cans do I have? Well, I have 5 cans, so it's going to be 5 times that 55 cents. And again, if I do it on my calculator, I take 0.55 times 5, and it's $2.75 to buy this set of 5. All right. Let's look at another picture. So next one is this. 3 cans of pop here, blueberry soda. It's $5.49 for a 4-pack, but one's missing, right? We can see that one's not there. So we've got this guy, and this guy. We've got 3 of them. We want to know what are we going to pay. So the first thing we do, again, if we go back to our chart, is find the unit price, okay, for this blackberry soda. Sorry, not blueberry soda. So it's $5.49 divided by 4. That's the unit price. So I'm going to go $5.49 divided by 4, and it's going to give me $1.37. I'm going to round to the 2 decimal places, so it's $1.37 per bottle. Now I have 3 bottles, so 3 times $1.37 is what I'm going to have to pay. So if I take $1.37 and times it by 3, I get $4.11. So I'm going to pay $4.11. Okay, now that's obviously before tax, which you may have already talked about. It's before deposits for the bottles and all that stuff. So there may be more expensive, but in terms of a unit price and then converting it into a price per bottle, that's what the answer is. Okay, the third one that we'll look at is a box of eggs. So you notice a dozen eggs, but I'm missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means I have 7 eggs total. And for a dozen, which is 12, right? 1 dozen is 12 units, 12 eggs. It's $2.29. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back here and I'm going to take $2.29 per dozen means divided by 12. So I go to my calculator and I take $2.29 and divide it by 12. And it's about 19 cents an egg. And then I have 7 eggs. So I'm going to go 7 times 0.19 is going to give me what it's going to cost. So I grab my calculator again and I go 7 times 0.19 and it comes out to $1.33. So this is going to cost me $1.33 for my 7 eggs. Okay, now that's one way of looking at it, unit price, in terms of figuring out a total cost when the price per package doesn't match how many are in the package. So that's one way of looking at it. The second way of looking at it is to compare prices. So if I look at this picture, you notice I have 50 here for $2.44. Then I have 100 for $3.69. And then I have 250, same thing. They're all 500 milligrams, right? But this guy now is $4 for 250 of them, or there's 500 caplets here, or 500 there you can see, for $6.99. And the question is, okay, what is the best unit price? In other words, how do I compare to get the best deal? So again, I'm going to jump back to my chart here. But my unit price is going to be $2.44 divided by 50, $3.69 divided by 100, 4 divided by 250, and $6.99 divided by 500. So I'm going to do each of those. I'm going to go $2.44 divided by 50 first, and that's 0.0. We're going to round up to 5. Okay. So it's about 5 cents per capsule or caplet. If I take $3.69 and divide it by 100, okay, you can notice, probably didn't have to do that in my calculator, but it's 0.04. It rounds to 0.04. $4 for 250 caplets. And that gave me an exact answer. Sorry, my calculator does that if it's in reducing fraction, or you can reduce the fraction. But it's 0.016, so about 0.02. And then finally, $6.99 for 500. So I go $6.99 divided by 500, and that comes out to about 0.014. So if I round that down, it's about 1 cent, although they are closer. If I just maybe add in an extra penny just so you can compare these, because they're not that much different. But this is the best deal then, the $6.99 for 500 caplets. And what you'll notice, generally speaking, is that the bigger quantity is cheaper per unit. It has the best unit price, which is why people shop at places like Costco, because you can get a lot for a smaller unit price. You can get a better price per unit. Now, there are other factors, obviously, that go into that, because you might not need 500 caplets of acetaminophen, for example. You might only want 50. Or up here, you might not want 7 eggs. Maybe you only want to buy 1 or 2 eggs, and maybe maybe you want to buy a dozen eggs or whatever. So there's a couple of different ways to think about it. But in terms of unit price, it's a way to figure out what you're going to pay per unit or what you're going to pay in terms of what's the best deal. Okay, those are kind of the two ways that we can use it. So here's an example. It says Mary purchased 8 fryers for her retailing business, and she got them for $825. So she wants to sell one. She wants to know what should I charge. So all we're going to do to get the unit price is take $825, the cost, and we're going to divide it by the quantity, which is 8. Okay, so I'm going to take 825 and divide it by 8. And it comes out to $103.13. So that's how much she should charge. Now, obviously, if she wants to mark it up or whatever, she might want to charge a bit more, but that's the idea of the unit price. Okay. Here's another example. Now we're going to try to compare two different prices. So this one, we were just trying to figure out what's the cost per unit so that I can go sell it to somebody. This question, now we're trying to compare. 2 people are selling wood. Okay. So it says one woodsman sells 3 cords for $465. So let's say I say person 1, it's $465. That's the cost. The quantity is 3 cord of wood. So I take 465 and divide it by 3, and I get $155 a cord. Now, person 2, woodsman number 2, is selling 6 cords of wood for $840. So we just look at the unit price by dividing those. So I take 840 and divide it by 6, and I get $140 per cord. So this one is cheaper. Okay, this is the better deal. However, you'll notice that this guy's selling 6 cord for that price. Right? He's not selling 1 cord for $140. So in other words, there are more considerations, for lack of a better term, that you have to go into when you're buying than just the unit cost. But it tells you that that one's cheaper per cord. Okay, if you look at this one, it says 3 different types of coffee. What's the best price? Okay. So at grocery stores, it says usually the larger quantity you buy, the better the price. So we want to know, is that true? So I take 375 first and divide it by 0.25. And that gives me $15 per kilogram of coffee. If I do this guy, I take 7 and divide it by 0.5. So that gives me $14 per kilogram. And then finally, I get $26 for 2 kilograms. So if I divide 26 by 2, I get $13 per kilogram. Okay, so the question is, does that hold true? Is it true that the more you buy, the better the price per unit? Yes, in this case, it does hold true. Okay, so here's another example. This one says that Rose is going to buy, these are actually from your textbook, but Rose is going to buy a box of pens for $6.25. I want to know, If there's 12 pens in the box, how much does 1 pen cost? So I take the cost, $6.25, and I divide it by the quantity, which is 12 pens, and I'll get my answer. Okay, I'm not going to show these calculations just because I don't want to keep flipping back and forth between the screens. So I'm going to do this on my calculator just off screen, and you can do it on yours and see if you get the same thing. But it's 52 cents per pen. Okay, and you should write that in as a unit. So this one says Claire picks fresh strawberries at a U-Pick. If she fills a pint basket, it costs her $1.50. If she fills a 4-liter ice cream pail, it costs her $9. Which one's the better buy? So I take $1.50 and I divide it by 0.5, and that gives me $3 per pint, or per liter, sorry, not per pint. It's a half liter that is a pint, all right? So then we take $9 and we divide it by 4. And 9 divided by 4 is $2.25 per liter. So which one's the better deal? This one is the better buy. Now, it's only a better buy, to be clear, if she wants 4 liters of strawberries. Right? She's still buying more. So it's a better unit price, but I'm trying to emphasize to you, because I think it's important to understand that the unit price itself is not the only consideration you're buying things. Okay, but it is different. Okay, now this one's a little bit different because you notice this is in grams, and that's in kilograms. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to convert the grams into kilograms, and we do that by dividing by 1,000. So this 250 grams becomes 0.250 kilograms. And this 500 becomes 0.50 kilograms. Okay, so then we're just going to find the unit price. So 425 divided by 250 becomes 425 divided by 0.25. So 425 divided by 0.25 is 17. And then we divide 795 by 0.5. And that gives you $15.90. And then I'll jump down here for the last one. You take $29.50 and divide it by 2. And that gives you $14.75. So which one has the lowest price? This guy does. Okay, he gets the check mark. And you'll notice again, or I'll circle it maybe, and you'll notice again that the bigger the quantity, the better the unit price. That still holds true. Okay. So there's a few more examples here. These are the textbook questions. You can try those on your own. But it's cost divided by quantity. Okay. And you can look at the notes, and they're filled in on the notes. We'll just look at one more question. This question is a challenge question. Excuse me. I just need a little drink. You are in charge of buying popsicles for your student council event, and you have 3 different options. Small box is $4 for 20 popsicles. You can get 200 popsicles for $30. You can get 400 for 48. So the first thing we want to do is figure out what is the unit price for each of these. So the small one's $4 for 20. Unit price is 20 cents a popsicle. $30 divided by 200 is 15 cents a popsicle. And then $48 divided by 400 is 12 cents a popsicle. So this guy right here is the best deal. This is what we want to do. Okay, but we have to buy them in sets of 400. So if there's 1,120 students, 400, we can buy 1. Then if we buy 2, we have 800. That's good. We're still good there. If we buy 3, we get to 1,200. And that's too many. So we're going to buy 2 of them. Okay? Now, if we buy 2 of them, the question then becomes, if I buy 2 boxes of those, $48 each, that's $96. Now, I need to be able to feed whatever 1,120 minus 800 is. Okay, because I just bought 800. So 1,120 minus 800 is 320. Okay, so I want to buy as many $200 popsicle boxes now as I can. I can only buy one because that's going to get me down to 120. Okay, so I've got 800 there, another 200 gets me to 1,000. So that leaves me with 120 popsicles, which means I need 6 boxes of the small ones. Okay, because again, 200 is too big. 200 is bigger than 120. So I buy as many of the biggest boxes as I can, then the next biggest boxes, and finally 6 boxes of the smallest one. Okay, and 6 boxes of the small one is $24. And if I add those all together, it means I'm going to spend a total of $150 on popsicles. Okay, so that's the idea behind unit price. And here's a question just at the end of the video. You can see if you can do this one. Okay, we'll call it the exit pass. But it says a wholesaler sells a box of 50 samosas for 28 bucks. Another one sells you 75 for 38.25. What's the unit price of each? And what are the other factors, because we've talked about some of them, that you might want to consider before you buy one or the other? So just think about that, and we'll leave it at that as we go.